The desert stretched endlessly, golden sands rippling under the sun's relentless gaze. In the distance, the silhouettes of grand pyramids rose from the earth like mountains of stone, their edges sharp against the sky. This was a land of mystery, power, and eternal legacy, the kingdom of the Pharaohs, rulers whose names would echo through millennia. And in the heart of this ancient civilization, legends were carved in stone, written in hieroglyphs, and whispered across the Nile for generations to come. Imagine standing on the banks of the great river, its waters glimmering under the early morning sun. Papyrus swayed gently along the edge, and the air carried the scent of reeds, spices, and distant fires. Workers and scribes moved methodically, their voices low but purposeful, while priests chanted sacred hymns, invoking the favor of Ra, Osiris, and Isis. Every stone laid, every inscription etched, every ritual performed was a testament to a civilization that sought to touch eternity. Among the pharaohs, one figure stood out, Amenhotep, a ruler whose wisdom and ambition were said to rival the gods themselves. He ascended the throne at a young age, inheriting the weight of both crown and kingdom. From the palace balcony, he could see the sprawling city below, its temples, gardens, and bustling markets alive with the rhythm of life. But ruling was no simple task. Every day brought decisions of state, matters of diplomacy, and the careful balance of power between nobles, priests, and foreign emissaries. Amenhotep's court was a world of both splendor and intrigue. Scribes recorded every word, soldiers drilled with precision, and advisors whispered counsel in gilded halls. Yet beneath the grandeur, the ruler understood that life was fragile, power was fleeting, and the favor of the gods was not guaranteed. He walked through the palace corridors with both confidence and caution, aware that every decision would ripple through the sands of time. One of the pharaoh's greatest pursuits was the construction of a magnificent tomb, a monument that would ensure his legacy long after his life ended. The pyramids were more than burial sites. They were symbols of divine authority, feats of engineering that would inspire awe for generations. Workers labored tirelessly, their chants and songs blending with the rhythmic clinking of stone tools. Massive limestone blocks were transported, aligned with mathematical precision, and raised with ingenuity that seemed almost magical. Yet, the pharaoh's life was not confined to stone and sand. He ventured beyond the palace to witness the lands he ruled, the people who served him, and the river that nourished both. The Nile was the lifeblood of the kingdom, its seasonal floods bringing fertility to the fields and abundance to the granaries. Amenhotep often reflected by its waters, contemplating the cycles of life, the flow of power, and the delicate balance between human endeavor and divine will. The pharaoh's court was also a center of learning and art. Scholars studied astronomy, mathematics, and medicine, while artisans painted vivid murals and crafted intricate jewelry. Music echoed through the halls, instruments played with delicate skill, and dancers performed with grace, celebrating both gods and kings. Amenhotep cherished knowledge, believing that understanding the mysteries of the world brought one closer to the divine. But even in such splendor, challenges arose. Rival kingdoms threatened borders, conspiracies whispered in shadowed halls, and the pharaoh had to navigate the treacherous waters of politics and loyalty. Every decision could affect the lives of thousands and determine the destiny of Egypt itself. Amenhotep faced these trials with a blend of wisdom, courage, and a reverence for the gods who guided him. One day, a mysterious envoy arrived from a distant land, bearing exotic gifts and messages of alliance. The emissary brought both opportunity and uncertainty. Amenhotep met with him beneath the grand columns of the palace, the sunlight filtering through the carved stone, casting long shadows across the mosaic floors. The discussions were intricate, balancing diplomacy, strategy, and trust. The pharaoh understood that the survival of his kingdom depended not only on might, but on careful judgment, foresight, and the art of negotiation. As night fell, The palace was illuminated by the soft glow of oil lamps. Priests performed rituals to honor the gods, while the pharaoh reflected on the day's events. He walked among statues of deities, their serene faces carved in stone, feeling both the weight of history and the promise of eternity. Each choice, each decree, each moment of vigilance contributed to a legacy that would outlast even the longest human lifespan. Beyond the walls of the palace, the desert stretched like an ocean of gold. Sand whispered secrets of ancient kings, of battles fought, of dynasties risen and fallen. The pyramids, silent and eternal, stood as monuments to ambition, faith, and the enduring human desire to touch the divine. Amenhotep's story, like the stones of his tomb, would endure, a reminder that even in fleeting life, greatness could be achieved and remembered. Even now, if you close your eyes and imagine the warmth of the desert sun, the cool shadow of the Nile, and the majesty of pyramids rising from golden sands, you can almost hear the echoes of the pharaoh's voices, guiding you through history, mystery, and dreams. The stars glimmered over the desert, casting a silver glow on the pyramids that stretched toward the heavens. Amenhotep stood atop a terrace overlooking the sprawling kingdom, his eyes tracing the course of the Nile as it wound like a ribbon of life through the sands. The palace behind him echoed with the quiet murmurs of courtiers, priests, and guards, all devoted to maintaining the order and prosperity of the realm. Yet, even in the calm of night, the pharaoh knew that vigilance was eternal. The next morning brought news of a disturbance in a distant province. A rebellion threatened the harvest and the well-being of loyal subjects. Amenhotep, guided by both strategy and divine counsel, prepared an expedition to restore balance. Soldiers drilled in the courtyards, banners were raised, and supplies were packed with precision. Every action was deliberate, reflecting the pharaoh's understanding that leadership demanded foresight, decisiveness, and compassion. Upon reaching the troubled province, Amenhotep found the land scarred by conflict. Villages had been raided, granaries looted, and the people were fearful and weary. The pharaoh walked among them, listening to their concerns, offering both reassurance and direction. He organized defenses, coordinated efforts to rebuild, and inspired courage in those who had been cowed by chaos. His presence alone brought hope, a reminder that the pharaoh was not merely a ruler, but a protector, a symbol of stability and divine favor. Yet power was not absolute, and enemies lurked beyond the horizon. Rival kingdoms eyed Egypt's wealth and fertile lands, seeking opportunity in every lapse of attention. Ambassadors arrived with both gifts and veiled threats, their words carefully measured to test Amenhotep's wisdom and resolve. The pharaoh received them in the grand hall, sunlight streaming through carved pillars, illuminating murals depicting gods, kings, and cosmic order. Here, diplomacy and discernment were as vital as sword and army. Every choice shaped alliances, safeguarded resources, and preserved the sanctity of the throne. Amidst political challenges, Amenhotep devoted himself to spiritual duties. The temples were alive with chanting priests, incense curling like living smoke through the air, and the statues of gods towering silently, embodying power and wisdom. Rituals were performed with meticulous care, offering tribute to deities who governed life, death, and the afterlife. The pharaoh understood that harmony between mortal action and divine will was essential, that the favor of gods like Ra, Isis, and Osiris ensured both prosperity and protection. One evening, Amenhotep visited the Great Pyramid under a moonlit sky. Its immense stones glimmered like frost, each block a testament to human ingenuity and devotion. Here, the pharaoh contemplated eternity, aware that his reign, though mighty, was only a chapter in the long story of Egypt. Within the pyramid, chambers were filled with treasures, scrolls, and inscriptions intended to guide him in the afterlife. Priests whispered prayers of protection, and the air seemed thick with sacred energy, a bridge between the mortal and the divine. The pharaoh's wisdom extended beyond the palace and temples. He encouraged scholars to study mathematics, astronomy, and medicine. Artisans created intricate jewelry, painted vivid murals, and built monuments that would endure through the ages. Knowledge, he understood, was as vital to a kingdom's legacy as walls or armies. During a royal ceremony, Amenhotep performed rites to honor the gods, his movements precise and deliberate, embodying centuries of tradition. The priests chanted, instruments echoed, and the air shimmered with devotion. In these moments, the pharaoh was both mortal and divine, a leader grounded in the world, yet connected to forces beyond comprehension. The Nile flowed calmly, reflecting the brilliance of the sun, the moon, and the stars, and Amenhotep walked along its banks, meditating on the delicate balance of power, life, and legacy. He knew that every action, from the simplest decree to the most daring expedition, resonated across the kingdom and into eternity. Even now, one could imagine the echoes of his reign, the laughter of children in the markets, the songs of laborers building temples, and the chants of priests guiding souls through sacred rituals. Thought balloon if the majesty, wisdom, and enduring legacy of Amenhotep and the pharaohs inspired your imagination. Leave a comment sharing which moment captivated you most. And don't forget to subscribe. More legendary tales of ancient civilizations and timeless heroes are coming soon. Crescent Moon. As night falls, picture the golden sands, the towering pyramids, and the calm flow of the Nile, guiding you into peaceful sleep. The stories of kings, warriors, and gods linger gently, carrying you through dreams of ancient Egypt, where history and legend intertwine, and the spirit of the pharaohs endures forever.